Hello again, this is Krill, about to play another turn of PB15, 80, God knows what, 85, I think, maybe? They're all blowing into one another again. Okay. Novice hasn't played as yet, Thoth and Commodore have. So, weirdly enough, the two people that I would have double moved last turn have actually just double moved back. We're not at war. It's not a double move. It's just best to say that if we had been at war, it would have been a double move. It's just that now it's novice that I'd be double moving. So we're still playing fluid with the turn order between a lot of the players here, but Sudoa and Pindicator actually are still at war, and they still have to observe a turn split. So whilst we're still playing pretty quickly, we're not playing at the insane turn pace that we've played at. Okay, 100%, but I'd need 6 gold. Oh wait, what's this I'm going to pillage? The advantage, I arguably didn't have to do all of the micromanagement last turn to ensure I got calendar in one turn because I could pillage that, but there was always the chance that somebody screwed me over, or that something attacked the chariot from the fog of war. So I was playing safe, and it's look at that, just changing that one tile off the scientist is enough. But I'm going to pillage because 9 commerce, even because novice can't stop it now. He's not a threat. He could, even if he double moved, he couldn't pillage that tile before I could. Even if because I could pillage it this turn, so it doesn't matter. Well, even double move doesn't come into it. There's no way he could stop me. So I'll pillage that, and I can run just about 100% this turn, and that means that I don't need to worry about I don't need to worry too much about population and what tiles I'm working. Not that there's much I could actually do anyway. So I've already looked round. Nothing's changed. There's nothing special. Yeah. Thoth is actually, he's been fairly defensive. He's not bothering defending the forest tile, even though I've got an archer next to it, potentially because he knows that I could road and attack that tile, so he's got to defend it with a surprising amount of units, and variety of units. Even though there's a river there, it's not as simple as it seems. You'd have to put on something like a spear and an axe on that tile to do it, and that would actually potentially leave flat open to a chariot attack. And he can already see that obviously he's had 2 turns to move units, and he already knows the axe is here. Actually, I've not renamed that axe. I've only got 2, so that's the second one, isn't it? So he's actually choosing to defend the city. That, to me, that suggests he's not got that much in the area, or that many units to defend this city. So he can't really defend both, so he's just defending the city. He knows he's got culture in that city before I've got anything, but he's not got a granary. But he's at size 3, I don't think he cares. He's just going to work some of these tiles. I mean, that's a nice little tile. 2-2-1, 2-1-2. Yeah, so he's got some nice tiles that he can work in this area. So I think he's just working them and not bothered about much else at the moment. Growing to maybe whip a library is a possibility. Go to F8 quickly. Thoth's catching up in population because he spammed out those cities and he got them out before me. Has Novice settled a city? I'm just going to check Civ stats quickly. No, Novice can't have because he didn't play. That's just land points. That's why he's jumped ahead of me and score again. He's at 7 though. When did he settle a city? I don't even know when he settled a city last, but he's at 7, I'm at 8. I've actually renamed my last 3 cities. This awkwardly placed city I named the Scarra Ward in reference to the fact that Scarra's shit at warding. The mid lane of Dignitas has a knack of putting the wards in the wrong position. Like, you can't. There's a couple of videos that I'll put, if I get around to it, I'll put into the turn report. He hates League of Legends sometimes because of that. The other 2 cities are a quote from one of the jungle player for Dignitas from Crumbs, in the aftermath of the elimination playoff match in the last North America Regionals, where Dignitas were playing Curse, another team, and whoever lost that series has to go and play a relegation playoff series next. I think it's next year, before the start of season 4, to see who will get into the LCS, into the League Championship. Dignitas won it after going 1-0 down in a best of 3 series, and the quote from Crumbs was that he just told his teammate. He said he told his teammates to do not die, and I will carry. And that's exactly, and he did. To be fair, he played Lee Sin, pretty good jungler, a very high skill cap jungler in both games, and helped destroy Curse with his ganks and playing. So I think he deserves homage for keeping Dignitas in the league for another split, another season potentially. But yeah, I'm actually kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel for names now. Actually, that'd be a good reason to not go for domination or conquest, is that I'm going to run out of names. Anyway, I'll get on with the turn now, so I don't, because that's a good 7 minutes of me babbling about stuff. I'm going to get calendar this turn, obviously. I'm going to have almost no gold saved at the end. I've said before I was hoping to save about at least 50 gold. I don't even get to save that. I still can't believe Commodore's at number 1. I mean, if he just has the 25, 30 turns now of not being screwed over. I mean, I know he's not got too many cities, but if he just gets what he needs now and then settles a few more cities and he gets a chance, he's got a good chance. He's got a good. He's going to have an opportunity, I think, to get back into the game. None of these tiles are improved. So this area seems to be completely unsettled. Oh no, that's sheep's. That must be Commodore's. Sheep's not. So yeah, there's still. I think a lot of this area is still unclaimed. I'll just move that warrior. Okay, that's not unclaimed. That's okay. Sudoa has not played this turn. He can move his axe. I can pillage, and then my unit can die. So I've got to consider: is it worth pillaging to do that? And oh, actually, Sudoa's got a 3 promotion. He's already got the heroic epic unit. Doesn't make any friggin' difference. Yeah, it's easier. Obviously, it's easier for charismatic leaders to get the necessary level unit because they just don't need as much experience. You get to a point actually where you can just build the units that you need without having to do any battles. But yeah, I've got to make that decision. I'm probably going to pillage it because there's nothing else that warrior can do for me. I just have to traipse him back home. I obviously couldn't pillage the hamlet here. I could try and pillage a windmill, but there's not as much that's really worth it. So I'll pillage that and let it die, or pillage and delete even. That's an option. I've already pillaged that. Vindicator hasn't played this turn. He moved last turn, so he can see everything. What do I do? I'm moving this archer to act as a fog buster, so I'm going to move him down south where it needs to fog bust, because everything else is already fog bust by Vindicator's unit and by some of mine, by that chariot, so I'm okay with that. I've got to cover this die tile, and it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. I mean, I'm actually going to now play a little bit safe. I'm actually going to promote that to a 2-star spearman, because at any moment there could be 5 immortals in flat. Doth could road this tile and immediately hit the city. There's nothing I can do to see that. Until that forest is cut, I won't be able to see anything. I'm never going to get that tile in my culture. There's no way I get that tile in my culture. These tiles up here, I could, if I push culture hard enough, I could potentially overcome Thoth in these tiles, but that's not. That'll take a while. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But this city's, both of these city, well no, Flat is one movable, Flub is not. Scarrow Ward pretty much always will be. I don't want to move the archer off the hill, obviously, to help defend, because I want that hill tile. I have to control that, and I need the archer on that tile to do it. Arguably, I could promote it, but the choice of city defense to leave it in the city, guerrilla, don't help it in either case. There's always a good chance that that the archer doesn't get attacked immediately, and Thoth is positioned to attack the city. I see it, and then I have to move the archer into the city. There'll be no fortification bonus if I do that or anything, so there's no point promoting it at the moment, unless I were to go to Combat 1, which is like worst of both worlds, but it's still something. But I'm going to leave that there. So I actually need to defend with the... I can't defend with the axe on the forest, because again, that's very easily going to get killed by a chariot. The chariot might be the best. The chariot's the best thing to... Yeah, if I've only got one chariot, I need to use that to cover the axe, so that an immortal would attack a chariot, so I'd still have odds. I think I'd have odds. I don't get defensive bonus, but I've got combat, so it's at least 50-50. But he'll have defensive bonus. It's weird. Move one worker up there to the die. The second one I'm not sure about. I need to decide. I need to think about a bit. I actually prefer chopping the plains forest, so I can have two workers to hook up the dies, to hook them up a bit faster. So I think I'm going to do that. The grassland forest would be preferable to chop, because that's a tile I will improve, but the positioning makes it better to chop that one. The hill, I kind of want to keep it forest, even though I want to chop it. Chop it so that no one can move onto it. Next, I'll just leave that for a moment. 86%, but that would be a double move, so I'm not doing it. That, and I don't want to attack him. Full stop. Heal this turn. Okay, 3 moves on to the hill to mine. I mine that now. Cancel both of them, because you never know if you're going to have to move them again. Yeah. That's the only unit I've got left to move. I could scout out a bit more and cover a bit of Fog of War. There's nothing special under these tiles, in my opinion, but I could do it all the same. I could Fog Bust down here. But I don't want to move a chariot into the Fog of War, where there could be axes and spears. I don't care that much, to be totally honest. I'm actually going to move it back into the city to deal with... Or do I see if I can annoy Pindigator? I've already annoyed him enough, I won't bother. I'm gonna... I can only move one tile this turn anyway. Chop both of those last turn, so they'll be gone. So I'm going to actually move it one tile north to that forest. That's pretty much all of this turn done, other than optimization. I can still get this worker done in 2 turns. I'm going to go for that. The unhappiness in this city wears off in 3 turns, so I said before, I don't want to grow in 2, so I'm going to work the sugar for this turn, and I'll work the hill next turn. Got the reset, but if it only works the hill this turn, it'll be at 49, so we'll only need 11 hammers or food next turn, so I'll go from making 13 to making 12. Still enough, it's plenty to do that in 1 turn, so the micromanagement still works out. Okay, this is where things get fun. Rajadonga is now size 7. I built the library last turn. I actually should have made 15 hammers a turn, right? Uh, should have made more 18 hammers a turn, but because there's overflow from the spear, then there could be overflow from the worker. I mean, I'm going to just go with the spear now. I don't need to... I mean, I don't want to grow this city until calendar is researched and another resource is hooked. So 4 turns is growing too fast. So I have to use one of these two. I need to use another tile. This perhaps works a bit better because no, tile roaded anyway. It doesn't matter. I think the incense takes 5 turns to hook up. So I could actually grow in. I could grow in 5. 6 is okay, but 5 would be perfect. I might actually swap between tiles, so I'll just work the hill this turn to make 18 hammers per turn. I need 7, means I overflow out 11. If I were to build a worker next, and I'm still I could swap between the hill and the farm. I'd only lose 1 production per turn, so I'd make 18 plus 3, 21. I can make 21 or 20. So effectively, the overflow out of the spear wouldn't help speed up the worker. So it would just overflow into the worker and then overflow out again into the library. The library would then get the 11 hammers per turn. So I'd actually need to get that library done in 4 more turns to average, what is it, 16? 16 hammers? Well, I'm doing 18 there. I can do 21 if I really want to. But I wouldn't want to do 21 because I want to grow. So I'd carry on doing 18. But if I did 18 for 2 turns, I could then go back to doing 15 for 2 turns, and that'd be, get a calculator because I don't trust myself anymore. 18 plus 18 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 11 is 92 hammers. So I'd actually get that. I'd get that library done in 4 more turns. So it'd be a 5-turn build total. So that's not too bad. And I could have got it done in yeah, I'd still get it. That's pretty much fine. That'd be for me, and that'd use all the overflow from the spear pretty much fine as well. And how that would affect growth is I'd be making 18. I'd be working. I would use the farm for all 3 turns making the worker, so I'd use the hill, and obviously you don't grow when you're making workers anyway, but I'd be making 18 hammers and 3 food for a total of 3 turns, so that's 9, so I'd be at 25, and then I'd be making 5 food per turn for 2 turns, so I'd actually grow in 5, so that would again fit in with the micromanagement quite well. So I'd be making 5, and then I would be able to pick up the labourer on the farm and the newly produced population point to work 2 scientists, and I'd be food neutral. And that's absolutely fine. That doesn't take into account the potential dyes as well, and how that would affect happiness, or the sugar. But obviously the dyes is up in the air depending on what Thoth does, but I can still get it hooked. The sugar, I don't even have a worker in place to do that. That would have to be hooked later, although the worker from Rashidonga could do that. So I could either carry on growing to higher pop sizes to make use of that happiness, or not. It's up to me. But I'm going to do the spear to the worker to a library. That'll take me 1, 2, 3, 4, plus another 4 turns for the library. So 8 turns total, and I should be at size 8 with happiness hooked and have more infrastructure in place. That's the aim there. But now I've got to look at ARAM collusion because that's affected. Not working that hill affects the tile management. And there's not an awful lot I can do. It doesn't matter which city uses the ivory or the hill at the moment. The moment one of these 2 cities gets a library, and I'm running the science slider at 10% or higher, arguably I should use the ivory in the city with the library, with the better beacon multiplier. I'll even that, actually I won't bother linking to anything to support that. Not much point. It's pretty obvious. But yeah, I can grow ARAM collusion. The unhappiness is almost worn off. Heads off next turn. 9. What do I do? ARAM collusion. I pretty much just give up on work on micromanagement in this city. This city's just doing what it can with what's left over from everything else, and I'm doing the micromanagement for every other city. So I'm not going to slave because I can't triple slave yet. It's actually a quadruple slave to finish that. I'm going to just work what I can. Improve the incense and work that at size 6. Carry on growing. Potentially double whip if I have to. Is there a lot? Fuck you, novice. You've built a library. Okay, I'm gonna fuck you, novice. I'm gonna whip a library. I'm getting pissed off with him now. There's a very good chance. Actually, what's his power to figure out what he's doing? No, fuck you, novice. I'm calling you on this. You're not building military units there forever and doing not building no military units and pushing culture. I am fairly sure what I'm gonna, because this city's gonna hit 40% very quickly. I'm fairly sure. I'm fairly sure that I want to hold this hill and that peak, both of which mean I need to push culture. That means I need the library, and getting that library a few turns earlier can matter a lot in culture wars, so I need to get this library very quickly. On top of that, I want to wipe Miller off the face of this map because I'm pissed off with it. I'd be very tempted to raise that city, and then I'd probably have to replant because he could always replant and try and push culture again. So I'd have to plant a city, but there's a city on this hill here, and the culture from MacArthur and Lambert, that's going to be at least 40%. So that's going to make it very difficult to plant anywhere. I'd actually plant. I'd give up on the rice. There's no way I could hold that rice because I can't plant. Because I can't even plant here, which would be ideal. I mean, I'd actually have to raise Miller and raise this hill city and then just replant for both of them. I'd actually consider plant. Oh no, that's against the hill. Consider planting on the rice because I could get the sheep, get that. But really, for novice, if I go to any war, it's either opportunistic just to raise something and then replant. I'd have to replant here. He might even replant. No, he can't replant on the silver either. So he would have. That would invalidate every single city he could do. I'd want to raise that city and replant on here. But that would be adjacent to culture from MacArthur. So it's like even then, there's no real way to fight against novice other than just killing him outright. So right now, the way he's pushing culture means that I'm probably going to have to do that sooner rather than later. Luckily, I'm already in his face. That as soon as you take Miller and raise that, I've got inroads to every city. Well, maybe not Robinson, but almost every single city. Especially if I push culture and ARAM collusion and those borders pop. Because I'd be competing for the rice. I wouldn't be that easy to get, but I would be competing for the rice. And Miller would be the only Miller's the only legal site, it seems now. Miller is literally the only legal site for any city to be replanted, or these two down here. But if I pop borders in ARAM collusion to 40%, which I will do eventually anyway, that's the only one that won't be covered by my culture. So that'd be Miller would be the only legal city site around. So he'd have to replant there and try and defend it, which would be very difficult for him. Because he could just sit in the city and I'd just like wander up and then try and... Yeah, I'd just wander up and then try and attack him again with a catapult stack and stuff. But I'm actually now going to change focus a fair bit and try and deal with Novice. Because whilst Thoth to me is the longer term threat, with a lot more cities, reasonable population. I mean, all these are size 3, aren't they now? Size 5, size 7, and a load of size 3s. In the next couple of turns, he's going to be quite powerful, in my opinion. But Novice is just so fucking obnoxious, the way he's playing. So I'm going to have to try and deal with him first. Also, because if you take Miller, yeah, I said take Miller and then Novice has got a lot of problems to deal with that he's got to focus on, whereas I don't need much to deal with him, and I can focus on other people, or I can just try and kill Novice. If I kill Novice, I can basically win this game because that'll open up plenty of land. Although then again, it's a standard problem. You kill anybody, you board every single person in the game, then you could get attacked. But kill Novice, get a lot of nice wonders. I didn't see that earlier. Novice got a prophet and not an engineer. No pyramids for you then. That. You know what? I'm actually gonna. How big can I grow this and how quickly? No one's going for mids. The only person who can build it is Novice, but he doesn't have that many solid production cities. Lambert, MacArthur, MacArthur, those will be good production cities, but they're too small. Even with a forge, doesn't have a forge in that city. Forge and industrious. Is he in? Infos. No, he's not. I can compete with him, I think. Now I know he's not got that. I'm going to get calendar. I'm going to save gold into masonry. And try and get that. And I'm going to try and build pyramids. That I am going to go for that now. I can build it in Rajadonga. I'm going to save both forests to chop. That'll save off a turn each, maybe slightly more. I'm going to grow it as fast as I can now. Based on dependent on happiness, which might mean which means giving up some hammers now, but I'll hopefully get them back later. Make 18, 21. So size 8 and size 9. It only needs to be size 9, so it doesn't need to grow much. 21, 25. Looking at 20 turn. Mids build. I'm actually very, very tempted to go for that now. So yeah, I'm very tempted to do everything I can now to screw over Novice. Yay, nothing special here. Carry on. Carry on. Nothing special here. Just that little bit short. Just that little bit short. But it doesn't matter. I'll overflow out. Plenty of. 1, 2. If it's 6, I need 24. I'll make 4. That'd be 6. So mine. So I'd 4, 5, 6, 10. Then I'd make 7. Actually, I could get, and then I'd make 7. So, but these 2 hills for 3 turns on 8, 9, and 90. 91, I could actually single pop slave that granary. So on 92, I could take it back. I'd be at moment 5. Overflow out 5. So then I give it up. Would I? 5. I don't take this. Next turn the chop comes in. 96. So actually, yeah, the exact turn I want to give up the corn, it does still work. Chop comes in on 6, so I'd work this on 7 and 8, 9. Grow into turn 89 to size 3. Slave on 90, but still work the 2 tiles to make 8. Save 12. Yeah, so this city can be size 3. Yeah, size 3 with a granary, barracks, improved sheep, work in the oasis and 1 other tile. waiting for the borders to expand to work the extra tiles. You can just grow working commerce tiles then. That's absolutely fine. Do not die will be about 5. Then I'll work these two to make it to 7. So that'll be. Then I'll do that. So there'll be. Then I'll whip it, and I can work the corn again, and it'll grow to 13. Yeah, that's fine. It can whip. Actually, it can whip and use the corn on the same turn because it'll then the food box will be at 13 out of 22. I'll need only 9 food, but to grow. But because it makes 6 turns, grows in 2 turns, it'll save the full 11 anyway. So that's absolutely fine. So actually, do not and I'll carry will not be size 3, but it'll be pretty close if it's not. Pretty close to growing. So do not die. Turn 91. It'll grow then turn. Slave the granary on 91. It'll grow then to turn 93. And then on 94, I can whip the barracks. Fall down again to size 1 with 11 food saved from the granary and 3 overflow, so that's 14. So again, it'd grow in end of turn 95 to back to size 2, and it would just be to build 1 workboat is all it'd have to do, and it could build that workboat slowly or quick. It depends on if I want to hook up the whale first or the fish, because that's also linked to how quickly Say Baron again completes the workboat, which I don't think is going to be done anytime soon. Because I can always chop it if I want to and just use this as a temporary hammer store and overflow the hammers out into something else, but there's nothing to build, so I'm just building the workboat. I want a workboat on that fish for the moment borders expand though, and if I whip the barracks on turn 94, I'll gain the culture on turn 90, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100, 1, 2, 3, end of turn 94, so there's got to be a workboat on that tile, and end of turn 94, or on the whale. So it can be hooked 105. Sorry, 105. That fish can be hooked. So I'm already micromanaging 20 turns into the future again to see how things can work. But that's because it's linked to when borders pop, and that is finalised off when I get the barracks, which is actually only 10 turns into the future, which is actually the length of time you could do some basic micromanagement for. I can't micromanage the exact labour movements over that length of time. I could do, but then they could get changed at a moment's notice due to a bob appearing on the wrong tile. But I can do labour positions for the next 6 or 7 turns, which is what I'm doing to get the granary. And then I have 1 labour on a corn. The only thing that can change at that point is, do I slave a barracks or do I slave a unit because I need to? Otherwise, I'll always slave the barracks. I'm going to grow back quickly anyway, and I can slave something else. But also, because the hammers in now are used to complete the granary, so they're not overflowing out. But after I complete this granary, all of the hammers I produce into units are going to pretty much just aren't going to matter. They aren't going to produce the units in the length of time I need them to, I think. Unless I do a workboat. Unless I'm trying to build a workboat and I work the 2 hill mines at sizes 3 or 4. Then they should be okay. They should complete, otherwise they're just a temporary hammer store, whatever I put them into. When I would chop or slave that building to finish it on time, the hammers would get overflown out. That might seem a bit complicated, but it's because the hammers don't actually do anything until you complete that building. But if I were to drop 2 chops to finish this granary at 30 hammers apiece, it doesn't matter how many hammers I produce now, the granary completes when I do those 2 chops. So those hammers don't actually matter until they complete a unit of their own, a unit or an improvement. But if I'm only doing a 1-pop slave into this granary, which is what I'm planning to do, these hammers become meaningful once I hit 30 of them, because plus the 30 hammers from the slave, that's the full granary. The same applies to food. Food doesn't matter until you grow a pop size. So it doesn't matter if you spend 20 in a size 1 city you spend 22 turns producing 1 food per turn, or if you do nothing for, God knows what, is it 16? For 17 for 17 turns, then you produce 5 food per turn. Basically, or it'd be easy just to say. So there's no difference between producing 1 food per turn for 22 turns, or doing nothing for 11 turns, and then producing 2 food per turn for 11 turns. Because you grow the pop size at the same time. Obviously there's side effects to working different tiles because of commerce and whatnot. But that's just that's just what you have to figure out if it's worthwhile doing different tile combinations. So yeah, I'm still going to build the spear, going to build a worker next and build a library. I'm going to get this hill mined for use at size 8. I'm not sure if that library is actually worthwhile. I'm actually going to reconsider that, but that's 4 turns. So 1 turn I finish calendar, I then got 3 turns potentially to try and do masonry. That is never going to fucking happen. Not in a million years. I can't even do that. Masonry takes 4 turns. Like that. 3 turns like that. So actually there's the potential that I could get it in 3. So the potential that after doing, because I don't even know how much I overflow ounce. Don't even know how much I'm going to overflow out from calendar, though I don't think it's much. Let me just work this out now. 79 to 87, so that's 3, and I make 8. So actually, I might get masonry done. I might get masonry done in 3 turns. It's possible. And if I were to get masonry done in 3 turns, I wouldn't do the library. I'd actually just grow. Keep on working the sugar. I'll actually. Oh, I wouldn't quite do it, but 2 chops save me 5 compared to 25. And that city needs to be size 9 anyway to work all of these tiles. So actually, I'm going to work that sugar anyway. I do need to grow the city. I'll actually build spearman to worker to mids is what I'll do. I'm going to go for that now. And now I know that novice can't just engineer rush it. I'm going to go for mids. Rajadonga is perhaps not the best place to build it per se, because I want to build National Epic there, but it's the best hammer city I've got right now by a long way. It's like nothing quite comes close. 7, it's 10 at best. And I make 13 here now by screwing up, but it's got to work cottages. They're more important. Even if I mine these last 2 hills, still only be making 19, whereas I'm making 18 here, and I can buff it to 21 this turn if I wanted. But I can get it slightly higher. I can get it to 21, 25. God, and it's still. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, don't make me laugh. I can get it to 12, 13. Get this slave to 17. It's like I can get these cities to decent hammer output, but not anywhere near what I can do. And those are all new cities. So yeah, not anything you can do to raise your donga. I mean, novice has a forge. He's industrious. He's got a nice little lake fish there. I mean, even Lambert at size 5 makes 3, 6, 10. 10 plus. Well, one moment. Yeah, 3, 6, 10, 14, 15, 16. At size 5 can make 16 hammers per turn. That's 24 because of Ind. 28 with a forge. So that's what he can do. He can make 28. He could beat me. He's even got forest to chop, so yes, he could definitely beat me if he really wanted. Oh, he's got. Oh, that's a nice little grass forest mine. So actually, at size 6, he can make. What is it? So size 6, he can make 19 hammers per turn. So yeah, it's not even close. He could still win if he went and built it in Lambert immediately. Um, but I'm not sure if he's going to do that because I think he's got other stuff he needs to do. And it's still a size 4 city. So he's still got to grow it to that size at the moment. He can make at best 3, 10, 9, 13. So even going through multipliers, it's going to be difficult. So yeah, I'm going to build, try and go for I'm going to try and go for mids now. Although it would be hilarious if fucking Commodore went and built it out from under somebody. It'd just be like I've wasted 500 hammers trying to build this fucking thing without multipliers, and then I could have invested that in horse archers and taken it. But yeah, I'm going to go for that because I don't want to spend any more money on units. Grows in 2, grows in 2, doesn't grow into, grows in 4, grows in 4, grows in 7, 2, 6. The city micro is going to vary if I do the worker. I'm not sure if I can't I could do the micromanagement in my head to figure out if working the core, the ivory for. Well, it makes a bit difference if I'm going to build a fucking using the hill or using the farm. It makes no difference between the ivory and sugar, but making 21 hammers a turn and 21 production a turn or 20 production a turn matters into that work because overflowing those that 3 production, that could matter to getting pyramids 1 turn sooner. God damn it, why is there no fucking stone on this map? That'd be 63 that I'd get because of that. I don't even need to build. Why have I even said that I'm going to build a worker and then? If I'm building a worker, I said before I want to grow Rajadonga in 5 turns. If I'm building a worker, that obviously wouldn't happen anyway. I'm an idiot. I could have. Yeah, I could have gone worker or library. If I went worker, it didn't matter. If I went library after the spearman, it would. The way I've set it up is that I do worker next. If I'm going to go for mids, I want to go worker next. Well, I kind of do and I kind of don't. I want to go worker next because I still need to get tiles improved. Like that. Grass mine. But I don't want to go worker next because I want to actually grow the city. But I can't go library because, well, first of all, what's the fucking point in it? Because I make 9 beakers per turn. There's nothing. It's not much in there. I won't be working scientists if I'm going to go for mids, and it would take me too long. I'd actually have to stop it to get the mids started immediately. So I'd actually have to build more military units. Doesn't matter, I can decide that next turn. I'm going to slave this library now. 23. I'm not going to chop obviously because I want to save that one for mid, potentially for finishing mids. This one is nowhere near being able to be chopped, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to get the library to 40 hammers. I'm going to get it actually to 41 hammers in 3 turns time, then I'll double whip it. Because if I've got to give up the ivory but about then, there's not much else. I'd try and Fuck it, do I even want to grow? The question is, do I whip the sheep if I'm going to double whip the library, because I could get the food box. Yeah, it's a bit iffy. Because there's not because I actually need the hammers from the sheep or the incense or the forest or one of the forests to still be able to do that. I can't work this cottage because I would actually get too much food, so I'd even have to give up the sheep this turn. But in 3 turns, make 24, so that's still not enough. So actually, I think I have to grow this city even though I may not want to. Or swap onto this. Or do some weird micromanagement. Whatever, I'm gonna stick... Stop fucking doing that. Nothing special with these. All that micromanagement's done. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Joint first. Gold, even at 8 cities. Well, gold, culture and all of that stuff can cost. Back to number 1. Still number 1, although someone's Doth's catching up. Definitely. Still top here in power. Although rival average isn't actually that far away, to be totally honest. Rival worst is Commodore. Doing nothing. Oh, fucking hell. If only I had the balls to actually go and attack him with what I had, but I don't. Land area, I've got a lot of lakes tiles it seems. Population doesn't mean squat. Approval rating and that. The last 3 don't really matter. Oh yeah, no one's got open borders, no one's got alphabet. There's nothing there. No, that's the turn. I'm going to end it there. So 6 cities. There. Sedo's at 7 cities. Thoth, yeah, still at 7 cities. Everything relevant. Indicators at 4 still. I've already checked Scooter, I'm just going up the list. Novice is at 7. Yeah. This game's going to be going for a while. Yeah, I think this game's going to be going for quite a while actually. Anyway, might play the next turn later, you never know. It is a Friday though, so most people are probably getting drunk after work rather than playing Civ. So I'll leave it there, and have a good evening guys.